everybody, and welcome to another week of Let's Talk. I am your host, author Dree Lett. Yes, I am back from a nice 2 week vacation. Thank you for joining me again. I am back. Yes, indeed. Let's Talk is a show where we inform, inspire, and motivate. We get you going, get you going, get you going, and get your spirits lifted up, right? So, you guys, make sure you subscribe to my channels. You can always watch me live on Facebook on Fridays at 8:30. You can also watch it on YouTube, where please hit like and subscribe and tell a friend, as well as on Instagram. So make sure you guys, like I said, hit like and share a friend. You can always check out my books and a bio of me. Scrolling at the bottom is my information on my website at dtlproduct.net or on Amazon. There is all the books. And by the way, I'm working on some new books. Some juicy stuff is coming. I want to perfect them and make them just right. Got something in it for everybody. So stay tuned on that. They're coming. So every week, I like to recognize my live virtual audience. So let's see who's tuning in with me tonight. Yes, my husband watching from the man cave, my loyal fans that always check in and watch with me, mommy in love, yes, mwah, from Vegas. Hey, Richard, how are you, sir? Cousin Diana, love you from Vegas as well. Mwah. Yes, West Coast in the house representing, and I see some more people are watching. It's okay if you don't want to comment. It's all good. It's all good. Come on in the room, get comfy, have a seat so we can let's talk. So I appreciate you guys' love and faithfulness every week watching Let's Talk. So, you guys, this is called MultiTalented Friday. Yes, I'm super excited about my guest that'll be coming up. Tonight we have 1970s child actor and music producer, composer and arranger, and recording engineer, Lincoln Kilpatrick Jr. He'll be coming on in just a little bit, and I'm so excited to have him on. You guys, you'll be familiar with his father. You'll be familiar with some of the things that he's played in on TV as a child actor. So that's coming up. So, in hot topics, oh my goodness, we got to talk about it, you guys. We got to talk about it. Let's hope we don't get censored or blurred or my feed freezes on me or any of that craziness. But I got to talk about it. I got to talk about it. I got to keep it real, right? Okay, so in Tokyo, as you guys may or may not know, Simone Biles, who's an amazing gymnast, the world's best gymnast who had the chance to win up to 5 gold medals at the Tokyo Olympics, will not compete in the sport's signature individual event. Biles withdrew from Thursday's all-around final as she continues to focus on her mental health. And that's what the USA Gymnastics had announced on Wednesday. So my heart and my thoughts and prayers go to her. Mental illness is real. And she basically said, quote, "I truly do feel like I have the weight of the world on my shoulder at times." So I totally understand what she's going through. That's got to be a lot, not having your family or anybody there in the audience cheering you on. I'm sure she has some support there, but not like before. Had this COVID thing come on the scene, she probably would have had, thousands of people there cheering her on. So just praying for her for a speedy recovery and that she gets the help that she needs. But it's so cool that she's got a really cool teammate that stood in for her. Sunun Lee won the gold in the women's individual all-around gymnastics final. So she brought home the gold for America. And, she said that she's supportive of her teammate, Simone Biles. So it was good to see that America still got the gold, but praying for her so that she can get a speedy recovery and get the help that she needs. Mental health is serious in this country, all around the world, actually. And big ups to her for acknowledging it, definitely. So here's the next hot topic. And again, I got to talk about it, you guys. I'm going to see what you guys think in the comments. My live virtual audience, please chime in and tell me what your thoughts are. So we have here President Biden just yesterday. He said, quote, "Every federal government employee and on-site contractor will be asked to attest to their vaccination status." Oh my goodness. So basically he's saying if you work for the federal government or if you work as a contractor on a federal government contract, you got to be vaccinated or you have to get tested every week and wear a mask. You know what? I totally get it. I understand it. I support it 100%. I know it's controversial, but if everybody did their part, there's about 80 million out there that's not getting vaccinated. If everybody did their part, COVID 19 could do just like the Spanish flu in the early 1900s and go poof. But no, you got people walking around, conspiracy theorists, and making it political. And so it's just veering its ugly head. In fact, it's mutating and it's getting worse. When I went on just before I came on air, they were saying that, in Georgia alone is up 200%. The cases. It's ridiculous. So you guys do your part. Get vaccinated. All I can say is this. I don't know. I shouldn't joke, but I'm not coming out the house. I'm not. I'm gonna be looking out my blinds like this. I'm not coming out the house. No, I'm teasing. I'm teasing. I gotta come out the house, right? But I'm serious. I'm gonna be very careful. I'm gonna continue to wear my mask. In fact, when they said everybody take your mask off, it's all good if you're vaccinated. I still have my mask on. In fact, I was at one gathering. It was an outdoor picnic, and some people had to go in and get their food. I think I was the only one in the kitchen making my plate with a mask on. Everybody else was like, she's weird. And I was like, I can't put my mask on. So, we have to do our part and just be careful out there, you guys. Don't listen to the crazy, things, because little kids under 12, they can't get vaccinated. And when you feel horrible, if you gave it to a relative or your own child, or just, somebody, and they got really, really sick, maybe they even died or they had lingering after effects. I mean, that's horrible. Do your part. Do your part. Get vaccinated. Do your part. So what do you guys think? Let me see some of these comments in here and see what everybody is thinking on those two hot topics here. Okay, so yeah, Richard says, do your part. Absolutely. Yes, do your part. Michael Powell says, how do I log in? Michael, I see you. You're commenting. You're logged in, sir. Let's see what else is some more comments. Okay, so Diana said, high expectations from so many others. Personal pressure to perform excellent and execute moves to be perfect. Yes, that is a lot of pressure. She is flawless. She's an amazing gymnast. And could you imagine the world, the United States, everybody saying, you got to perform, you got to perform. That is a lot of pressure. Oh my goodness, a lot of pressure. Let's see here. Mark says, pay attention and follow the medical facts. Absolutely. Yes. Don't be crazy. Don't be saying it's political. If it's political, why are people dying? I mean, just do your part so this thing can go away. So we have to be so much careful. We really do. We really do. And, I was telling someone, I think I said on this show, it's equivalent to someone going into a store and just open fire on it. Some people gonna get it bullet, some people aren't. That's how COVID is. You go around and you just spread your germs. Some people may die, some people may not. But do you really want to take that chance and be responsible? No. Hey, Carla. Hey, lady. How are you? I see you. Let me look over here and see if there's any more. Okay, so Ingrid said, I wish I could stay home and not work. I know that's right? I understand. She is a nurse. Thank you for your service, Ingrid. We appreciate everything that you do. I totally thank you for that. Let's see here. Hey, Kojak, how are you? How are you? Good to see you. Glad you are here watching. Let's talk with us. And those of you that are viewing that may be too shy to say hello, it's okay. It's all good. It's all good. So I want to introduce my guest. You guys, this is such a treat. I was so excited about this. I'm going to introduce him and share my screen so you can actually see this video image as I read his bio. And you guys should know immediately who this gentleman is, or who his father was. In fact, let's see here. Let me get to the screen. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is Lincoln Kilpatrick Jr. there in the middle, and over to the right is his father, Lincoln Kilpatrick Sr. Isn't that cool? How many of you guys recognize him as an actor? I watched him in all the movies growing up and even as an adult. Awesome actor. And there's Lincoln Kilpatrick on the left. Yes, he was on Sanford and Son and Good Times, and he's done commercials. That's him. Multi-talented Lincoln Kilpatrick Jr. So let me read his bio and give him a formal introduction. Lincoln Kilpatrick Jr. is an American composer, arranger, songwriter, and music producer. Born in New York City and raised in Los Angeles, he comes from an entertainment family background. His father, Lincoln Kilpatrick Sr., there on the right, was a well-known actor, and his mother, Broadway actress and professional, she was a professional singer as well. Although Lincoln grew up as a trained child actor, appearing in many commercials and role appearances in Sanford and Son, as well as Good Times, he developed a passion and talent for music early, which continues to this day. Lincoln attended Boston Conservatory of Music and a year later attended the University of Southern California, where he earned a bachelor's degree in music composition in 1986. Lincoln has worked with many various artists throughout his career and has wore many different hats, such as songwriter, arranger, producer, MIDI, programmer, recording engineer, music tech guy, music equipment guru, and studio design consultant, just to name a few. His career highlights is being the keyboardist for the 70s renowned group, the Friends of Distinction. Lincoln currently is operating under LKJ Prods and works with private clientele. So you guys, let's welcome to the virtual stage my guest, Mr. Lincoln Kilpatrick Jr. Let's bring him on in.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Lincoln, how are you?
Pardon my bird because he wants attention right now.
How you doing, sir? You staying safe out there wearing your mask and all that good stuff in LA?
Oh, totally. Yeah, we don't want no COVID catching up on me. Well, I've been pretty safe and I've been pretty good with all my vaccination shots, and I'm good. I know a lot of people don't believe in it, but I got mine.
Good. That's
Good.
awesome. That's awesome.
How are you, by the way? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm gonna stay in the house, Lincoln. I'm not coming back outside.
I heard that. You're looking good too.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm just teasing. No, I gotta come out, but I'll put it this way: I'm not going to any large gatherings. I'm just gonna be careful until this thing dies down. To be honest with you.
You got the right idea. I got the right idea too.
Well, let me first start off by saying your father, as an actor, I grew up watching all his movies, and wow, that's amazing. What was that like, that being your dad, a Hollywood star? What was that like?
It was family. My father always believed in family, so it was never a big deal to him or us. You know, we just grew up. It was easy seeing Ben Vereen and all of his friends were like they hadn't like made it. You know, so it was like seeing them at the house was like no big deal. They were all just basically coming from the same kind of vibe that they just loved art, and they just all made it at the same time. They all were becoming successful. So it was like sitting with your friend and you see him next day he's driving a limo or something, or a car, a Benz or something. You know,
Wow.
It was just fun though. Fun growing up. You know, the arts meant a lot to my father. So all of his friends came from New York. So when they got to Los Angeles, one by one they all started migrating to LA. So it was kind of like a little fraternity of New York actors. And so I grew up around all of that. And so I started acting like around 5.
Oh, wow.
And before I even knew what it was, I was already in it. And then by the time I figured it out, I said, oh, there's money involved. We think about that for a minute. Your check is going to you or me?
Oh, wow.
Same name, you know. So my father got away with it for a long time.
Oh my goodness. What was it like working with Red Fox? That had to have been awesome.
Highlight of my career. Highlight. I mean, you know, because I didn't really know his background.
Mm-hmm.
But he was so original. I mean, when he first, you know, I have a big butt. And when Red saw me, it wasn't in the script. And so we usually with a tape show, you sit down, you read the script. The next day I came to the reading, they had all these new lines. Like all new lines. So it was fun, but Red was like amazing. You know, he was a true entertainer to the degree of he was polished. So when you see him on like Sanford and Son, he was already polished. He'd been doing that routine, his act for like years. And so people at the time, you know, when they do tape shows, they have somebody who does the warm up for the audience. Red did. Red was the warm up. Yeah, he was there. So before they had warm-ups, he was actually doing that. And so, but it was a lot of fun, you know. I mean, I worked with Hal Williams and the whole Lynn Hamilton. All those guys are old school actors that my father and I grew up with. Esther Roll, you know, all of those people.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. And so you were on Good Times as well. What was that like working with JJ, Jimmy Walker, and all that?
A lot of fun. And some of the funny thing is the guys that were in the gang are all, I still keep in touch with Reggie Dorsey and also Paul Jackson Jr. We all stay in touch, and so. But it was a lot of fun because it was just a spontaneous. We only have a week to do that show, so everything happens like really fast. You don't have time to really do it. You have to everything is in motion. But it was a lot of fun. Because Esther, I know Esther since I was a kid. So with her in the good times, it was a lot of fun. We've done stuff together before in theater, in plays.
Oh,
I taught at acting school, so I worked with Esther a couple of times in theater as well. But it's just fun to be able to work with people that you can look back on and say, "Wow, we did that." It was a lot of fun.
oh my gosh, that's so cool. That is so awesome. So what is your so how did you get inspired in music? I know in your bio your mom was a singer. Did that have a little bit with you getting involved in music?
I had a lot to do with it. I just grew up around music. My mother, she played the piano and she sang all the time, and I didn't really know I was influenced by that. I just knew that I always had a song in my head. I was always singing all the time, and it was like a hobby because I like sports as well. And then I never forget it. I wanted a drum set, and they wouldn't give me this drum set, and so I came home with a pad, and I thought, "Oh wow, this is cool." And I realized they duped me. They didn't give me the drum set; they got me this pad. So I said, "Forget that." I got out of it really quickly, and then one day they brought the piano home, and that was like end of story. So they bring the piano home, and it's like they knew this was gonna be a problem, so they put me in the garage. That was like my new home, but I loved it. I on that piano hours at a time, just hours a day, and a lot of fun growing up with musicians and growing up with bands and stuff, and people who are aspiring musicians. It was just a lot of fun. Like my house was like the hangout for all musicians. So they would come to my house after school, and we would just jam. And I had all the instruments. I had a drum set, I had a guitar, keyboard. So people just come over and just jam. But what that was doing was staging the show for me to be an arranger. I didn't know how that was going to play into me having aspirations to be an arranger, because that's what I was doing.
Oh wow, that's amazing. And then with that, you decided to go to school and study it. And wow.
I had an aspiration for higher learning at an early age. And what happened was with me in school, it wasn't enough for me. And so when I thought about higher learning, I thought about conservatories, Juilliard, that type of stuff. And so it was inspiring to keep that goal in my head. And when I got out of high school, that was like a one-way ticket. I'm like, let's go. And I got accepted. It was my mother threw a big party for me. And so I ended up going to Boston, which was a great school. But I ended up at USC because of the academic. Hold on. Birdie. Shh. Birdie wants to be in the video. But the academics really brought me to USC, but they had a wonderful program there. So I learned a lot of, it was more detailed for me. And it was a university. So, universities incorporate a lot more than a private like conservatory. But both of those schools were great for me. Really great.
Wow, that had to be amazing. Writing music, learning how to read it, and everything. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It's awesome when you don't have to do anything else. Like, I think people who go to school and they have to work, it's kind of a disservice because you can't really take advantage of the curriculum the same way if you have to that's all I'm going to do all day today is just play. And that's wonderful. For those years I was in college, that's all I did. I was in the library all day. I was at the piano, in the class. It was just a wonderful experience.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome. So when you graduated from school, did you just come straight out working with other musicians?
I kind of locked into, I hate to say it, but I started working in day jobs. And my father told me, he says, don't do these day jobs, don't do it. But musically, I was always into technology. That was my whole thing. And so I didn't have any equipment, but I was inspired to get equipment because I was always into synthesizers, electronics, and it hadn't really taken off, but people were already playing around with it. And I already had some things, but I wanted to build a studio. So that was my biggest mission, was to build a studio. And so I started buying equipment, and then I got hired a couple of times through different private sector people who knew that I was doing, and they hired me as an arranger. So I started working with their equipment, which my father told me that all along. Don't get equipment, use their equipment. But I did it my way, like Frank Sinatra. But what happened was I just started really getting into the equipment side of things, and I started really just learning my equipment and craft and building up my studio. I taught myself how to engineer, and then I started getting into performing. I had a friend that was doing 70s bands, and so I started doing bands and writing charts, and just kind of morphed into other things, but I was always recording all the time. all the time. And
Who's
just kind of
you worked with?
well, I ran into a producer that was good friends with Coolio, and so I did a lot of his programming.
Yeah, Coolio
That,
the rapper.
that was like the deal, Coolio, and then I
Yeah.
worked with a couple of people that worked with in that particular production circle. But for the most part, I just did a lot of behind the scene programming. So that's what the MIDI programming is. Just me, people coming to me and say, "Hey, I need a beat. Can you put it together?" And I have a really good ear, so I was able to read music. I can listen, hear it by ear, and just play it out, write out the charts. And so that's kind of how it started. But basically, in the studio, just working with different people, just kind of putting together their ideas for them. And then I didn't really get no like big hit, but it was fun to me. So I kind of just took it like that. And then I started doing more of the live performance, and that's how I got with the Friends of Distinction, when I was playing live with them. And that was a beautiful experience. I never forget playing the Greek Theater, and we played a lot of big venues. And I worked for the Platters too. The Platters.
You did? Wow.
For the Platters, that was kind of exciting. Got a chance to go to Singapore, which is we'll tell you that story another day, because that was incredible. They were a day ahead of us, and I didn't know that taking the gig. So the plane left on Monday, and when I got to Singapore, they said it's Wednesday.
Wow.
What happened to Tuesday?
Right.
I was lost.
Wow.
I had a lot of fun with that. A lot of fun memories with that, and then mostly just studio work. I do a lot. So a lot of times I set studios up, and then I end up working out of them. They hire me to actually run the studios.
Oh my God.
I've been working on a lot of gospel projects right now through private sector. So I've got a lot of gospel projects, and I'm just doing the same thing I've always done. Engineering, a lot of engineering, but mostly production, just like song production, things like that. And I have a couple of writing partners I work with, and so it's a lot of fun. It's kind of like a variety of different things I do. So I wear different hats.
Yeah, I see. You are very
mobile too. So a lot of times I do things at home, but I'm also able to move around with my laptop, and I'm just a tech guy. So I've got all the hard drives and everything, but it's fun. It's really fun.
And I can kind of relate to that, going to undergrad for television productions, producing, directing, and editing. So I have a love for that on a similar to that, but on a different level. So even with the Let's Talk, putting it all together. So you're right, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hours, but I love it, and so I totally can relate to what you're talking about.
And the school was like probably the highlight of my whole life, because that was like something I had to kind of stop acting because of school. I was acting up until the age of 21. And I was still getting called for auditions. And I told my dad and my mom, I said, this is going to create a problem for me, because I already knew what was happening. I went to school with Byron Allen.
Oh, really?
We went to junior high school and high school together. And so right around that time we were at USC, and I saw what was going on with him. And I didn't want that to happen to me, where I had to stop school and go professional. And so I passed up a lot of opportunities, but it was worth it. It was worth it.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. So you said earlier you do like gospel. Do you do any other sector music like pop, or you talk about?
I'm mostly pop guy. Everybody knows me. I'm the pop guy. I like the hip hop. I like the rap. I like everything that's on the radio that's selling. But I'm more, my background, this is why I'm kind of can morph into different areas. I was trained in classical music. So I grew up playing, sonatas and Bach and Beethoven. And then I fell in love with jazz. I found a big old box of jazz albums. And I didn't know what they were. I started playing them. Back in the day, you play phonos. You just put them on the phono, and I couldn't read all of this music. And so I morphed those two mediums into composition, because composition is like, it sheds all of those genres, and they're all meshed together. So basically, that's kind of how it started, with all of those, learning both of those crafts. But for me, the pop music is all a DNA of rock and roll and R&B, and all that stuff comes from that DNA. And gospel is like the forefront of the church. The church has got that backbeat. And so I was blessed to have a client that said, hey, my mother's a great writer. Can you arrange these songs? I did so many songs this year. I did like 15 songs for her, and wrote them all out by hand, wrote all up, transcribed them, wrote them, and then programmed them on my computer behind me. It was like a computer and all that back there. But that's, I call this like the workhouse over here,
Okay.
But the thing is that, I'm happy mostly in pop music. I love pop, but I'm trained to do like composition. So it's kind of like I'm morphing into more of the television type, like sound design type stuff, because I have a lot of stuff to play with. So, it's fun. Whenever the job comes, I'm ready for it. It's like Monopoly. You know, you got property, you got railroads, and every now and then somebody lands on your property. So that's kind of how I look at the music skills that I have. Sometimes people need me to just train them on how do I use this program, and they get intimidated by the computer and the software. And I say, you know, if Bach and Beethoven had this, how many more symphonies would they have written?
Yeah.
I don't let the technology get in the way of the flow of what you're really there to do, which is create. And that's kind of what I'm about.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, you're definitely multi-talented. So if somebody wanted to get into the field of producing, arranging, all of that, what are some of the best advice you would give them?
Well, you know, there's luck, and then there's the other thing when preparation meets luck is I forgot that little lingo they said. Success is when preparation and luck meet together. But I always say I came from a school of learn your craft. And learn your craft means, I mean, if you're a rapper, you study every rapper that you know. I mean, learn what they're doing, but also try to build around the music and learn something about the craft, you know. And so I would say, first of all, kind of, if you don't play an instrument, learn an instrument. Learn the flute, it helps you in the long run to have some kind of craft to go along with your talent. Because people work off a rare talent, and sometimes that's not enough. Because you have a lot of talented people out there that can do what you do. So I say just really be truthful to what you want and dedicate yourself to. In other words, sometimes it's going to require sacrifices, and you might have to miss that party, or you might have to miss, you know, hanging out with your friends. But I think through the dedication comes the reward of getting what you want and getting to where you want to go. But your craft is going to always be worth more than money.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If you know what you're doing and you learn your craft very, very well, people will find you.
And you love it, definitely. Definitely.
Love is everything. I mean, if you love what you do, it makes it so much more rewarding when you go through the valleys of nothing happening. A lot of people say, oh, well, you know, should I give up? Should I leave it alone? But if you love what you do, I look at like the court jester. He tells jokes, and he would tell them for free because that's what he loves to do. That was what he's meant to do. And so when you find your passion, it makes it just that much better when you get the rewards of the passion. But it has to come from somewhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. You know, even with this.
Answer, I know, but it's a lot of that answer can be answered in many different ways. But I think if you love what you do, it makes it more sweeter when you start making something out of it, you know?
Yes. Like with Let's Talk, you know, I love it and just love putting it together, love inspiring people. You're right. You got to love it and you got to put time into it.
And I think it comes like my daughter, I have a 15-year-old daughter, and she's like, she wants to be an architect. And I told her, I said, you know, she wants the computers. And I said, you know, first of all, get a book. And the other architectures did before they had computers and before they had all this technology. How did they design like a pyramid? I mean, they didn't have any laptops. They did that with their mind. So sometimes you'd be surprised what you could do with nothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nothing. It took me a long time to realize this. My father always told me, you don't need all that equipment. And then years later, after he passed away, I said, oh, wait a minute. I see what he meant. Because when my daughter was born, I didn't have anything but a laptop. All my studio equipment was in the studio somewhere. And so I had nothing but a laptop. But I was so creative with that laptop. I did everything. Everything. So I say people who are coming up, just don't let don't get discouraged. Because it's easy to get discouraged. People say you're not good enough or you can't make it. Don't listen to any of that stuff. Nothing. Just love what you do and know that the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it.
That's so true. That's awesome.
Just the hours. I guess it's a little lingo about how many hours. It's so many hours to every craft. It's like 10,000 hours or 20,000 hours. But when you reach that level of hours, you reach a level of precision and you reach a level of expertise, you know? And so you put the time in, you're going to see something out of it. Definitely. That's kind of how I look at it, you know? It's kind of hard to see your progress sometimes until you see somebody else starting. And then you see, oh, wow, I was at that place. And now I know I'm not there anymore. So you just need to be your best encourager sometimes, you know?
Definitely. I love it. That's excellent advice. You got to just keep pounding away at it and love your craft and give it your all. I love that. Absolutely. So studio audience, you guys have any questions for Lincoln? Let me just take a look and see what some of the comments are saying. Lincoln, this is such a treat to have you on. I'm so glad you are gracing the virtual stage here. Let's talk.
Problem. I grew up with a family of entertainers, you know, so I was always around some kind of art. And it's inspiring to know, because, sometimes your parents can be your best friend and they can be like your worst enemy when they don't feel like you're doing the right thing. 'Cause they feel like, oh, speculative, arts and speculative. Go be a doctor or be a lawyer. And for me, because I was in the arts, I didn't have that problem. Because they were always supportive, and it helps to have support from your parents. It really does.
I can imagine. Yes, yes.
It
This
does.
teacher said, must have been nice to grow up with all those stars. Yeah, that's awesome. That you
Great stories. Great stories. I never forget my first time my father took me to a Beverly Hills party, and he put me in a blue suit.
a blue suit.
He thought this is the way to go. I mean, you're going to a Beverly Hills party, you're going to make sure you looking good. I got to the party, and all the kids had jeans on. I was the only one in a blue suit. I said, Pop, why are you doing this to me? Why? So I had a lot of stories, lot of stories, a lot of funny stories.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And let's see, here's some more comments. Somebody said, if you love what you do, it's not work. That's so true. Richard said that. That's so true. It's not work if you love it. Absolutely. Let's see. Mark said impressive. Diana says, I remember drafting classes in school. Great class. Wasn't really taught to girls, but I insisted. Kudos to your daughter. Yes. She's talking about your daughter wanting to be an architect. So
Yeah, she got a love for architecture. She used to play this little game called Roblox, and she just loves architecture. But she needs to. I'm still trying to train her that you can't cut corners. Sometimes people think you can take a shortcut and get through the back way, but it might take a little longer. But when you do things the right way, I'm glad that I didn't have computers when I was in school. I didn't have computers. I had to actually write the music out, and I'm so glad I learned it that way, because these kids today, they don't need computers. They're just typing stuff, and that's it. But the craft is a beautiful thing when you learn it the right way, and you can really actually utilize it in so many different ways. But it's just I think I think that's my perspective of it. But it's fun. It should be fun to you. When you're traveling through a journey, it should be fun.
I totally agree. And I'm around your age as well. We didn't have Google. They got Google. We had to go to the library, look it up. We had to write an old-fashioned paper. There was no laptop. So you're right. Just learn the old.
And it makes you better for it, because you learn how to not use that as a crutch. Like even with my daughter, I look at her. She's always got the phone in her hand. Every 5 minutes, she got that phone like this. And I'm like, what do you do when you just sit in a room with somebody and you have no phone?
Oh, yeah.
And you have to have actually an actual conversation. It's like different, It's a different era that we live in. I'm trying to adjust to it, but it's difficult, It's difficult. But I'm doing the best I can. I'm not like a mean dad, but I'm got a big question mark about a lot of stuff.
Don't we all? Don't we all? Oh my goodness. So what's on the horizon for you? What's next? What are you working on?
It's funny that you should ask. I'm just kind of going with the spirit. Sometimes God just points you in a direction, and he says, look, don't worry about the details. I'm going to put you where you need to be. So with me, I've been doing my private services for people, like helping them with their songs, but I'm going into another level of just songwriting, with specific artists and writers, and also more television stuff, because I have a lot of friends that are doing television scoring. So I've never really gotten into it, but that's kind of, I think, where I want to be. Because people who are doing scoring, guess where they are? They're at home.
Yes.
There's a technology. They're not having to be out there around a bunch of people. So everything is done there. I have a client just called me just before this started. Says, hey, man, I'm going to send you a song. Can you put it on a CD? But see, all this stuff is done. They can just send it to me via email or via a server. And I mixed 14 songs last year, and I never saw the guy once.
Wow.
Hadn't seen him in 5 years. And the guy just popped up and said, can you mix these songs for me? And I said, sure. And he sent every song to me via email. And I got the material, mixed it, sent it back to him, and he paid me via Zelle or whatever, Cash App or whatever. So for me, that's where I see my vision going to, where I have everything in my house and I can just record and write. But I want to get into business where I can set up a couple of different rooms where I can move around, because I like the mobile aspect of recording. So I've got some friends in France, and I have a sister that lives in New York. I like to be more mobile, just get around and start, it's a different energy wherever you are. Mm-hmm. So I like to be kind of like on a plane, just going somewhere like, hey, I'm here today, but tomorrow I could be in Virginia or St. Louis. I just want to be more mobile.
Yeah.
But as far as my music is concerned, I just want to continue doing what I'm doing. This is writing, production, because mostly everything I do is around production and song production. Okay. And engineering too. I do a lot of mixing, engineering too. I'm getting into that kind of vibe where people just call me to mix their music.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I've been getting a lot of jobs like that, but it's funny. I enjoy all of it really, but I think the thing I enjoy most is that not separating my time with other like things. And sometimes we get kind of carried away with trying to have too many different hats.
Yeah.
I think right now, mostly it's going to be mostly publishing and writing because to me, that's passive income, you know. You write a song and it ends up on like Apple TV or something, and they're cutting you a check
Right.
every quarter. And so to me, it's like you think smarter, not harder, you work smarter, not harder. And that's kind of how I'm thinking. My friend came up with an expression, you don't like Jerome gave me this expression. You don't want to step over dollars to get to pennies. And
Oh
that's kind
yeah.
of what I've done for a lot of years. I've been, making money, but I've been stepping over dollars to get the pennies. And so I'm being smart. Even if I take a cut in salary, I'm putting myself in position to make what God wants me to make.
Mm-hmm.
God wants me to have more than what I think I want. This is the funny thing about it. And so I've been on this spiritual growth path where it's like I'm listening to what he's telling me, and he's saying, look, I want you to be somewhere else, but I got to take you from where you are and put you somewhere else. And that's kind of what I've been doing through this whole pandemic. I've been just nothing but music.
Wow.
And I'm just like, we all have to have extra jobs to kind of to pay the bills, but sometimes you have to put yourself in another place to be more lucrative. Let's put it that way. You have to be taken out of one place and be placed somewhere else for things to kind of gel properly. And that's kind of what he's done for me.
Yeah.
But the future is bright, I'm just going to be writing songs and helping people with, and I have so many clients and they call me periodically and I come and help them, but they either come to me or I come to them. But it's going to get more private for me because I like the private clientele. But I just like to be productive. That's all. Always work. I'm working on some EDM stuff now, and I just love working on projects and getting paid is nice too.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, you are definitely multi-talented. That's why I had you come on MultiTalented Friday. I thank you so much for coming on Let's Talk. I'm
And the lighting, I got the lighting right. I think I figured it out. So I'm happy about that. I was really concerned about that. I didn't want to look like a vampire up there.
Everybody in rehearsal, he was getting with his lighting, making sure it was just right. Yes, you look fantastic.
Oh yeah, enjoy it. Enjoy it. Well, I'm enjoying your show, and I'm going to tune into your show as much as possible. And I'm glad you turn me on to you.
Well, thank you. Yes, Jerome. He is awesome. He has his own little segment here. He texted me before we came on, and he's out on this cruise ship. He said he's going to try to record something for us next week. So he want me to tell you hello.
Well, anytime you need me, I'm here, and I've got other friends that if you need more people on the show, just call me.
Absolutely. Definitely. Bring them on. Yeah.
Everything is fun. I've been blessed to have good health. I never take that for granted. Oh, one of my lights just decided to go out.
Oh, I can still see you.
But I just really think that it's a blessing to be alive and a blessing to be able to share. And I've never been stingy. Anything I know, I want to share it with people. And that's what I've been doing with my music. And the way I record, I've been sharing it with other people. And letting them know that it doesn't have to be like overwhelming, like, oh, the computer, I don't want to do this today. It doesn't have to be that way. You can make it simplified and find your little lake or your little place in the ocean and enjoy it. You don't have to know the whole ocean to enjoy the ocean.
That's it. And when you share, God blesses you twice fold. So I love that whole thought process.
Oh yeah, and the best is yet to come. I always believe that. I've been very patient in my life, and I feel like God has got some other things He's doing. He's working His magic. I have to just sit back and let Him do what He does because He's got a bigger plan than we all think of ourselves, bigger than what we can think of it is to be. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of being basically embedded in my music. So everything around me is just about that music, and I love it. It's really a lot of fun, but it could be a lot better. And that's why I think the pandemic was an eye opener to a lot of people who were doing other things that can't do those things. Like I was driving limousines for a while, and it was like, guys, I don't want you behind the wheel. I want you behind the keyboard. And I understand you need the money, but I got a plan. Follow this plan, and you will be thanking me later. And I'm looking at my life now, and it's like, wow, things have. Oh, the light came back. See, listening to me.
That's God, yeah.
He knows what I'm talking about. He gave me a plan like about 10 years ago, and he says, look, I know this sounds crazy, but just follow everything I'm going to tell you to do, and don't ask me why. Just do what I'm asking you to do, and watch what happens. And it's like using less energy, but on the back end, it's like things are starting to move. It's like you can't move mountains, but somebody else can. So you just let them do what they do, and you just do what you do. And I know I'm good at music, so it's like, why am I'm not doing that 24 hours a day? Why? And it's easy to take an easy way out, and this is why I tell kids to start, easy to take the easy way out. But if you really work hard at what you're doing, you're going to get opportunities. They're going to pop up all over the place. And that's kind of what I've been doing. I get a lot of referrals. People call me, they heard of me, and hey, I need this and that. And someone told me about you. And that's the end of that. And technology helps. I got an iPhone, I got a laptop, and in my house, I got computers everywhere.
And I got the information scrolling at the bottom. So
love you. Thank you for putting that there. And anybody who ever needs anything ever, even if it's just some advice. I mean, it could be something like, because sometimes we're 6 degrees of separation, and it could be like one phone call that one person can make on the behalf of another person that can open the door for somebody else.
Yeah.
It doesn't take much. And so I think this is one thing about Los Angeles is that it's kind of cliquish. So people who have their cliques are in their cliques, but it's not hard to get into those cliques if you make the right phone calls. It's really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it is personally.
Yeah.
But people are, they believe in networking and they think that happens. But I know when I was in acting, when my father did a show called Frank's Place, and everybody on that show, it was directors talking to producers like, who do you know?
Yeah.
I know so-and-so, and those are the people who get the job. So this application process, it really doesn't exist.
I agree.
People know who they want ahead of time, and then they do a call when they're thinking they want to fill a position, but they already know most of the time they do. So, but that's the game. That's a part of the game. You got to play it. And sometimes I'm a gambler. I don't mind waiting for a whole day. Up the light went out. That's that. But I don't mind waiting a whole day to get an opportunity to get something happening. And so I'm very patient in that level. I'll let things develop. And that's a part of the patience that will get you to where you're going.
That's so true. That is so true. Oh my gosh. Well, Lincoln, you are welcome to come back anytime. And we definitely got to link up again and talk about more different ideas. And if you have any other people that want to come on, let's talk. Absolutely.
Maybe next time I'll talk about the actual process of how I go about.
Yeah, that would be great.
This is very unique because it's spontaneous. Everything is very spontaneous and it's a groove. It's a vibe, So I vibe with people. We're like talking. Next thing you know, we're working on a song. It's that kind of interaction. And it's such a beautiful thing because this is the way it's always been. Without computers, people got together and they just played music. And next thing you know, it's a song.
Yeah.
And,
I've heard
the money part of it is going to happen, but that's how the connection happens, But we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah, you got to come back and tell us more about that.
And if you're ever in LA, please call me, take you to lunch or anybody. Just hang out,
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, sir. We got to have you back on. Definitely.
Anytime. Hopefully I shared some stories with you. Maybe never I'll share some more. I have lots of stories. So never heard of stories.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. Let's talk. You stay safe. And
the light came back.
See?
Right. He's the way.
That's God. He's telling you something.
Follow the light. Not MC Light, but the light.
The light, right. All right, sir. Well, I will be in touch, and thank you once again for coming on Let's Talk. Take care. Okay. Bye-bye.
Anytime. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. That is awesome, you guys. Oh, what a treat. He's definitely got to come back on, you guys. Lincoln is amazingly multi-talented. Oh my gosh, that was such an interesting interview. Such a treat. And as you guys probably heard, he's friends with Jerome. So Jerome, who always has his Jerome moment here on Let's Talk, he put me on to him. So that's awesome. So excited. And speaking of Jerome, he is on a cruise ship doing his stand-up. So he'll be out there for about another month or so. He's going to try to do the Jerome moment and record it and air it here on Let's Talk if he can get good Wi-Fi. Out on the cruise ship, sometimes it's kind of spotty. So praying for a safe trip. And I know he's got people laughing in stitches. He's a lot of fun. So guys, again, want to thank Lincoln for coming on. But as we close out the show, just want to leave you with a positive thought. The positive thought, I always give you guys something to think about. And this one is definitely, it says, make finding the good in others a priority. Again, make finding the good in others a priority. And Zig Ziglar said that. Too often we always look at somebody and we always look at the negative. Find something positive, right? Life is too short to always be thinking negative and all that kind of stuff. So find something good in a person, whether it's a family member, coworker, whomever. Just find something good. I'm sure it's something there. So as I tell you guys every week, do one good thing for one person each day, and you can affect 365 lives. That is so true. Like I said, open the door, say hello, what have you. And you know what you could do if you're not vaccinated? Get vaccinated. That'll be something really good for somebody somewhere. Maybe you're in the store and that elderly woman, you could get her sick, or that person with underlying conditions, or that small child, they can't get a vaccination. Do your part. Get vaccinated. Stay safe out there. Make sure you wash your hands, wear your mask. I know a lot of people don't want to go back to the mask, but this is the only way that we can get this thing gone for good. So you guys, make sure you tune in next week. I got another good treat for you next week. And as I tell you all the time, if no one has told you they loved you this week, know that I love you. Stay safe out there. And with that, I'm out.